this story now, the Independent Police Investigative Directorate is probing the murder of a JMPD officer. He was allegedly gunned down by an SAPS member. Now, the video of the incident in Braamfontein in the Johannesburg CBD in the early hours of Monday morning is going viral on social media, and that's what we're showing you at the moment by blurring some of what could be sensitive. Now, both officers were off duty but had their firearms with them. In the video, a man thought to be from the JMPD is seen approaching the police officer in his car. An argument ensues and 6 shots are fired, killing the Metro police officer instantly. Now, IPID says no arrests have yet been made, but investigations are continuing. All right, let's get some reaction now on that story. As you heard, that natural sound that just cut there is the 6 shots I was telling you about a little earlier on. And joining us is the South African Union Policing Union spokesperson, Lesiba Tobakale. Mr. Tobakale, thank you very much for your time. Just your reaction to 2 law enforcement officials, acting the way that they did in full view of the public, with their service pistols, mind you, at a place that is meant for, lack of a better word, grooving.
Thank you, Masero, for having us, and greetings to your viewers back at home. The reality is that, we really do not know the real story on everything that has happened. And it is proper for us to send condolences to the family of the member who was shot during that incident that occurred. And as we have said, Masero, that we do not know actually what transpired before or even on the side in terms of what we have witnessed through the videos. We are only relying on the videos that have been shown, that have been circulating on social media. And we need to say that as SAPU, we condemn the act in nature, in its totality, to say that we've got 2 police officers who really had a scuffle amongst themselves. That on its own is really not showing a good example to the members of the community. And further to that, Masebo, it brings this question to say that our police officers, we want to encourage them to deal with the issue of anger management. Because if a police officer can just be easily provoked, it means that we are able to see such actions and such provocations leading to disastrous actions that have been taken. And in relation to the event, to the incident that we have seen over the videos, we just want to say that we want to allow the law to take its course, to see indeed on what has happened. We find comfort that IPID, they are saying they are investigating the matter, and we do not want to try our members or to try anyone on TV or even through all media platforms, but to allow the law to take its course, so that whatever outcome that comes there, we can be able to accept it. But we have to reiterate that the issue of anger management needs to be dealt with. Our members, indeed, when they really see that they've got issues that relates to anger management, a police officer must not be easily provoked because they are trained. But there's circumstances and issues that police officers undergo. And when they go through those, they need to go and speak to somebody for them to be assisted.
And I think, Mr. Tobakale, there's also a question around how they are trained. We've heard police officers, for instance, even through unions, where young police officers who are going through the academy talk about the type of abuse that you go through when you are trained. So you develop the anger from that point.
No, we cannot say that there is abuse, during training. The design of the training itself, it is meant to build a police officer. Yes, it is there. There is no form of abuse that one can say that it is there. It forms part of the curriculum that police officers undergo. What we see is that police officers are also human beings. The nature of the job itself, you see dead bodies, you go to attend different crime scenes, you do this and this and that. That on its own, it leaves one with trauma. And that on its own, you find that one can just be easily provoked because there are issues that have not been dealt with. It is not because of the type of training that members undergo.
Yeah. Mr. Tubakale, tell me what the law says in terms of service pistols, where police officers are able to go and not to go with service pistols, especially when they're off duty.
Pistols, it is what we call, in terms of South African Police Service 108, that is the standing order that goes with the issue of service pistols. Remember, police officers, you remain to be a police officer, whether you are on duty, whether you are off duty. So the issue of the service pistols, because our members at any time, they can place themselves on duty when they come across a circumstance that needs them to place themselves on duty. They won't say, let me go back and fetch my firearm and now come and assist a member of the community who is having a specific problem that needs police assistance. So the issue of service pistols, for them being off duty and being in possession of those service pistols, it is clearly because a police officer can place themselves on duty. Even they themselves, further to that, Marcel, they get targeted a lot because you are a police officer. You are with others. When you are at work, you don't work alone. There's other police officers, criminals that are targeting you clearly because you are a police officer. They will not come and attack you. But when you are isolated on your own, then they find that opportunity to come and attack you. So the issue of service pistols, it is for them to assist them to protect themselves, because anyway they get targeted by criminals. The high level of the numbers of police killings really suggest to us that most of them, when they are off duty, they still get targeted. And further to that, they can place themselves on duty to go and assist the citizens even when they are off duty.
All right, so it's for those types of incidents. But if they're going to places like where these two police officers were found, it's an establishment where patrons were having alcohol. They seem to, obviously, I agree with you in terms of investigations concluding first, but you can see that this is an area in Braamfontein where it's not necessarily an area... It's an area where there's a lot of partying, for instance, a lot of alcohol involved. Is there no debate around whether or not they should have their service pistols when they know that they're going to areas such as this, or to enjoy themselves private?
We need to remember, Marcelo, that the issue of firearms are being controlled in terms of the Firearms Control Act. And that clearly it states, on circumstances that one can have a firearm on them, not necessary for it to be a service pistol, and so on. And everyone who has a responsibility to be in possession of a firearm, the Firearm Controls Act, it really has, requirements that are there that one indeed has to make sure that at all times they are fit to be carrying that service pistol. But in relation to this case, one cannot say, because we cannot conclude to say either one between the deceased and the member who is alleged to have shot him, one cannot say that either one of them was intoxicated or not. That is why we subjected it to. But everyone who is in possession of a firearm, they've got a responsibility to be responsible at all times wherever they are, if they are in possession of that firearm, even coming to the use of that firearm.
Yeah, an isolated incident, and Dr. Tubakale, I do agree with you, and quite disappointing, I can imagine, for the SAPS and even for unions to find two police officers fighting and, threatening each other with a gun. At some point you hear one of them saying "ikhiphe," meaning take it out. So it's one of those stories that we'll keep an eye on for you to give you an update on how investigations are going and if anyone gets arrested. That was the policing union spokesperson, Lesiba Tubakale.